Hey there, people. This is a short, maybe a little bit longer than short, introduction to Microsoft Word. This is the same information that is covered in the PDF file that you may find on our Canvas site, but I thought I would go over it in a video format for those for whom that's more comfortable. When you first open a Microsoft Word screen, there are a number of things that you need to be aware of. We've already talked about the File ribbon, which is up here in the upper left corner. We have also already talked about the Quick Access toolbar. You should also see a ruler across the top here. We'll talk about what you can use that for in a little while. You should see over here a bar that allows you to move up and down through a document. Um, you can also click through pages using the double arrows here. You also have, down in the lower left corner, some information about your document, the word count, what page you're on, that kind of stuff. And then down here in the lower right corner, you have some buttons that allow you to change the size of the document. You can see I'm zooming in, zooming in. Whoa, zoomed way out. And I'm going to move us back to 100%. You can change the display on your screen. You can see we've just gone into reading mode. I'm going to close that because I don't really like it or want it. I'm going to open a document here at this point so that we have something to actually look at. I'm going to open our course contract for FYE. This will make things a little bit easier. Before you can actually do anything with the text in a Microsoft Word document, you have to be able to highlight it. There are a number of ways to do this. One is that you can simply left click with your mouse and then drag your cursor over. You can see I've just highlighted that. On an individual word, if you double click it, it will highlight it. If you want to highlight an entire line, if you move over to the left of the line until it becomes an arrow like that, and then click, that will highlight the entire line. If you want to highlight an entire sentence, you can push Control on your keyboard and then click within the sentence, and it will highlight it. If you want to highlight an entire paragraph, if you triple click, it will highlight the entire paragraph. If you wish to highlight multiple paragraphs, we're going to move our cursor over to the left-hand side until it turns into an arrow. Then we're going to press and hold down the left mouse button while I drag the pointer. You can see that it is now highlighting multiple paragraphs. And if we move the pointer to the left of any text until it becomes an arrow and then triple click, we highlight the entire document. Those are all of the different ways that you can highlight text. I want to show you a couple of things on your home ribbon, which is this bar up at the top. You'll see that it is divided into sections called Styles, Paragraph, Font, and Clipboard. And we're going to go through several of these. The font part of your home ribbon allows you to change the font. The default in Microsoft Word is Calibri, but we can put this into any of these fun things. So we can highlight this, and now let's find something fun to play with. Oh, I don't know, let's put it into whatever this is, and you can see we have just changed that. We can change the size by choosing a smaller or larger number here. We can make it bold, we can italicize it, we can underline it. With this little button right here, we can change the color of it. Let's make it a nice bright red. And then finally, we can double click that little arrow to open the dialog box for the font, and you can do all of the same kinds of things, and there are some additional things you can do as you explore that. So that is how we work with fonts in Microsoft Word. The paragraph section of the home ribbon allows you to do a number of things. If you click right here, you can create a bulleted list. You will see it just continues to add bullets until we backspace a couple of times. We can create numbered lists. We can sort things alphabetically. Let's find where that is, right here, by clicking the little A to Z icon. There is a show and hide button. Let me see if I can find where that one is. right here. If I click that, it shows characters that are in the document that don't print. If I unclick it, it only shows me what will print. I'm going to highlight some text there. These simply change the position of the text. If I click here, it will center it. If I click here, it will align it with the right-hand margin. If I click here, it aligns it with the left margin. Within this, we also have a spacing button. And if I click on that, it gives me my options for single spacing. The default is 1.15. I can set it for 2.0. I can set it for 3. A number of other options there. And if I click right here, I can open the paragraph dialog box that allows me to do a number of other things, and I'll let you explore that. We have over here the clipboard. The clipboard is where we can cut or copy text and then paste it somewhere else. If I copy something, it is now stored on the clipboard, and if I were to go into, say, another Microsoft Word document, I could then click paste, and it will paste it for me. The other thing that you need to know on here is another thing you need to know, and I'm going to go back to our original document, is the insert ribbon. The insert ribbon lets you put things into the document. It inserts them. If I click right here, and then let's say I want to start a new page, I could come up here and insert a page break. If I wanted to insert a picture, I would click here, and then I will go and find my favorite picture, which you should by now know is the koala. And you can see that I have just inserted a koala picture. I'm going to delete that because it's kind of big. Other things that I can insert clip art. I'm going to search for an arrow over here, and now I could insert one of those into my document. I'm going to close this now. I can insert a header, and a header is something that goes at the top of each page. So if I wanted to put my name at the top of each page, I would click Insert Header, and then I will type my last name here. I can insert a table. Tables can be very useful in documents. Let me scroll down to here. I'll click Insert. I'm going to draw a table, 4x4 square, and I can put content into that. So that's the Insert ribbon. The Page Layout ribbon gives you a number of options here. We can change the margins on a paper. You can see it defaults to 1 inch all the way around. If you don't see one that works for you, you can click Custom Margins, and then you can set your own. I can change the orientation of my page. Portrait is what you're typically used to looking at when you print something, where the 8.5-inch edge of the page is your top and your bottom, and the 11 is the side. If I click Landscape, that changes it to the other way around. The page borders, if I click on Page Layout and select Page Borders, we can now put a box around our page. And it looks like that. Just adds a little bit of visual flair. Don't do that on your papers that you turn in. You should have a good reason for using a border like that. And the indent space is here. If I click right here, let's highlight some text actually so that you see how this works. And actually, let's highlight some that is not in a numbered list. If I click indent 5, you can see what it just did, 5 inches. I wanted it to do 1/2 inch, not 5, so I'm going to do 0.5. And now it has indented it 1/2 inch. The spacing here is the spacing before a paragraph break and after a paragraph break. The references ribbon is what you use to insert endnotes or to insert footnotes. You can also create a table of contents. You can insert citations. This is a fairly complicated ribbon, and this would be covered in a more advanced course on Microsoft Office. The review ribbon is what you use to edit and review a document. There are several things that you can do with this. You can check the spelling in a document. You can see my spelling and grammar check is complete. I seem to have spelled things correctly in this document. I can use the Thesaurus to find other words. If I select purpose and then click Thesaurus, you can see it comes up with several things. You probably should not just assume that these words are easily substitutable. You need to check to make sure that the new word actually fits what you want. You can see that I can do a word count. I have 337 words in this document. If I wanted to know just what was in this paragraph, I could highlight it and click word count, and it tells me that there are 64 words in the highlighted region. There are a number of different things that you can do using your keyboard. Clicking the right and left arrows moves your cursor. I would refer you to the document that's in our Canvas site to take a look at that table that shows all of those things. When you do double click here to create a header, once you have inserted it, and I double click there, but you can also do it by inserting header, you now have a header and footer tools design ribbon that shows up. This gives me options for what my header looks like. I can edit the one that I have, I can remove it. I can insert what's called a footer, and you might guess this goes to the bottom of the page. I can insert things into the header and footer. Page number, for instance. I'm going to insert it at the bottom of the page in the center. This is also where you can change the page numbers or remove them. I can set this so that it starts at page 5. Just don't think that you can have a one-page document and set the page number to start at page 5 and trick your professor into thinking that you have written 5 pages. It doesn't work that way. And finally, over here, you can close the header and footer design ribbon. You have a number of picture tools that you can use once you have inserted an image. So let's go back and put my koala back in. One of the things that you can do is to click the text wrapping tool. This will allow you to determine where text appears in relation to your image. You have a crop tool. Let's say that I want just to have a little bit of my koala bear showing. Let's have just a koala bear eye. Why not? And now I go up here and click crop again, and you can see now all we have is a koala bear eye. I'm going to delete my koala bear eye. Actually, I'm going to show you how the undo tool works, and go back and let's actually have our whole koala bear face, just to be kind to the poor guy. Height and width allow you to say how big this picture is. This is awfully large, so I'm going to make the width 2 inches. And you can see that changes the size of my picture. Finally, I want to show you the View ribbon in Microsoft Office. The View ribbon does a couple of things. Checking the ruler box shows your horizontal and vertical rulers. If I unclick that, you can see the ruler just disappeared, as did the one on this side. There is a zoom button. I can zoom up to 200%. I can zoom up to 1,000%. Actually, no, I can't. I can only zoom up to 500%. And it looks like that. And now I'm going to zoom back out using the slider at the bottom there. I can set it so that I see 1 page at a time. I can set it so that I see 2 pages at a time. I can change the page width. There are a number of things that I can do with this. So that's a brief introduction to many of the things in Microsoft Word. Again, I know many of you know most of these, but I actually learned a good bit just from creating the video. So there's some interesting stuff there.